Morning. Today we're going to be talking about food plots, and I don't want to be too critical of people, but there's a lot of videos coming out on food plots, and you can tell a lot of people that don't understand soil health. I'll go over that. They also don't understand that deer have individual palates, and let me tell you what I've done. I've actually done a whole bunch of research, and I've got cited articles and research. I'll put it on a web page. There's a link below. I'll also link to some of the seeds I use if you're looking for some bulk seeds, which is kind of hard to find. I actually get most of mine off Amazon. I also use Outside Pride. So here's the problem. The problem is you'll often see people go out and they'll rototill or plow up a field like a half acre, quarter acre. And I'm talking about small properties now. I'm not talking about larger farm properties. I'm talking about smaller properties. So go out, they'll take a small food plot, they'll plow it up, and then they'll plant one thing in there. They'll plant cowpeas, or they'll plant soybean, and it's just such a horrible way to do it. You have to understand you're doing nothing for your soil, number one, and number two, you're not doing anything for the diversity of taste in your deer. So I've got a video that I put together. I actually created a script, and I actually had a video done on it, and I'll put it up here in a second. But it talks about the individual palates of deer and how they actually learn what they like and what they don't like.
When we plant food plots for whitetail deer, it's easy to fall into the monoculture trap. We till a patch of ground, throw down a single crop like cowpeas or clover, and expect the entire herd to flock to it. But science tells a completely different story. Just like humans, individual deer have their own unique palates. Some humans love macaroni and cheese, others prefer chicken. Whitetails are no different. What tastes like a delicacy to one buck might be completely avoided by another. Long-term tracking studies show that deer possess distinct foraging personalities. Bolder, more adventurous deer are willing to tolerate novel, bitter, or heavily chemically defended plants. Cautious deer, on the other hand, strictly stick to a rigid menu of familiar plants they know are safe. This preference is driven by a complex system called post-ingestive feedback. Within hours of eating, a deer's internal chemistry evaluates the food. If a plant upsets its unique rumen microbes, the deer connects that specific flavor to discomfort. If it delivers vital protein, it triggers a positive craving. This is why single-species food plots fail your herd. By planting a high-diversity mix, combining 3 to 5 different types of greens like clovers, turnips, radishes, and grasses, you cater to every individual palate in your woods, while simultaneously building explosive soil health underneath. Stop planting one-note fields. Give your whitetails the diverse buffet their unique palates demand. Your soil and your herd will thank you.
The other thing you need to understand is that if you want to improve your soil, biodiversity is the only way to do it. I'll show you the fields up here that were horrible hard clay soil, and now we can literally stick any seed in the ground we want and it'll grow. I've got huge zucchinis, tomatoes, butternut squash just in these food plot fields because of the biodiversity. Regenerative, understand regenerative. Some people think that you have to have livestock to do regenerative. But basically what you're doing is you're allowing everything to grow up and then you cut it down. You return all that organic matter to the soil. And when you do that enough, you let it grow up and you cut it, you greatly increase the soil properties. You turn this red hard clay soil into this dark rich soil. You add carbon, you add all kinds of stuff to it. So that's what we'll talk about today. So anyways, in the description below, there's a full article you can read that talks about the diversity of deer palates. But biodiversity is absolutely critical. Multiple plantings. Just keep throwing out seed and get that. You'll see how thick and how diverse these fields are up here. Every night, now this is a 40-acre farm property, if you don't know. There's the house behind us. We spent 4 years redoing this whole place. We don't use any fertilizers up in our vegetable gardens, and our small gardens produce over 3,000 pounds of produce a year. Zero fertilizers. There's a big mistake, and one of the mistakes you can tell, one of the ways you can tell that people don't know what they're talking about is I see people go out, let's say they'll plant a 1-acre food plot, and then they have this little bag in front of them, and they're gonna put out 50 pounds of lime. Let me explain this. If you have a 1-acre food plot and your soil pH is a 5 and you wanna bring it up to a 6, do you know how many pounds of lime you need to put, let's say on average Georgia clay soil? You need to put 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of lime to increase at 1 point, and it'll take months. Let me say that again. If you want to bump it up 1 point, 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of lime to bump it up 1 point. I have some footage up here on our fields, and our fields are not that big. We put down 17,000 pounds of lime in about 20 minutes. This truck came up here and did a lime run for us, and it was 17,000 pounds of lime on those fields up there. I did it one time several years ago, and that's it. The pH is fine now. Your biodiversity will cure so many problems. So if your pH is off, the biodiversity will help. If your soil is hard, dry, and clay, biodiversity will help. If you have a lot of water runoff, the roots will increase your infiltration rates. Everything good happens. So let me run up here. I'll show you this, and then I'll just pop around. I'm cutting some stuff up here. I'm planting some stuff. We got afternoon thunderstorms almost every day rolling, and it's the perfect time to seed. Seed is germinating in days. I'll show you also, when you do this thick biodiversity planting, you don't have to get the seed in the soil. You literally can throw seed on the ground. I'm talking about corn, beans, whatever you want. You can throw it in this thick biodiversity and it'll sprout and grow. I'll show you. I just scattered corn down on some of these rows, and I have corn germinating in 3 days. It's crazy. So anyways, I'm gonna go fish for a minute, and then we'll go up to the field and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So one of the rules for planting food plots is watch the weather. The sun's out and I got a rain jacket on because every hour we're getting these sun showers. Believe it or not, it's raining. It's raining and the sun's out. We're getting this, it's 89 degrees, 90 degrees. It's gotta be 100% humidity. I'm dying with this coat on, and now the sun's out. So I'm getting these showers. Once an hour, I'm getting 5-minute rain. We got heavy thunderstorms coming in tonight. If you're ever gonna plant some food plots, this is the time to do it. So number one rule is watch the weather. Wait till you get these rain patterns move in. That's when you can go out and seed. Number two rule, don't put all your seed in one basket. And what do I mean by that is don't go out and plan on just seeding once. What I want you to do is every time that you have a possibility of rain coming in, a strong possibility, go throw out more seed. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy. You'll see when I show you these fields. I'll come out every week and throw a little bit of seed out. I'll throw out some clover, I'll throw out some purple top turnip, some form of brassica or radish. Maybe I'll throw out a little alfalfa. Maybe I'll throw out whatever. I mean, just constant seed. Whenever you get a chance, go out and throw a little bit of seed whenever you got rain coming in. What you're doing is you're building up this incredible biologically diverse soil and area, and you can watch at night. I don't want to say hundreds of deer, but I've got on camera, I have cameras all over this place. All night long I have deer traveling through here. Now I have feed stations here. Take this off, I'm boiling. I have feed stations here. We have 9 of them that we maintain all year round. We put corn, soy, and protein pellets, but they'll hit that for a minute and then they're in these fields for the rest of the time. They consistently just roam these fields and just graze and graze and graze. So let me show you an example of good biodiversity. Now, when we bought this property, these fields didn't exist. It was clumping fescue and small trees. It was disgusting. The roads didn't exist. None of this existed. We had to do all this. But when I talk about biodiversity, weeds are okay to an extent. Grasses are okay. But I've got, if you come out here, you can see right here. So I've got some weeds. I've got some grass. I've got a ton of clover. I've got corn growing. I've got chicory. This is chicory right here. This is chicory. I've got purple top turnip. Maybe I'll throw out some radish. I might come out here in the rows and actually throw out some green beans or peas or even cow peas. and just diversify it. And it's incredible what happens. These fields are so thick and lush. Now, I understand that not everybody has access to a cutter, but if I only had to buy one piece of equipment for my property, it would be a tow behind cutter. I use a DR Power 44T, Pro 44T, and we cut these fields about every 2 weeks. And we return, so it grows, generates that energy, cut it, return it back. Grow, cut it, return it back. We've done that for 3 years, and it's amazing what it'll grow. I'll show you in a second. It'll just grow naturally now. But I want you to see how we do this. Maybe you can see. This row, I heavy plant corn. I leave about 9 feet, then I heavy plant corn. And in between these corn rows, I actually plant just green browse. And I'll come in and I'll cut in between this corn. So we'll leave the corn standing, and then we have heavy browse. Last year, at the base of the corn, I actually threw out some Australian winter peas or cow peas. They were growing up like crazy, but the deer didn't really eat them that much, to be honest. So I'm gonna play around with some different stuff. But here's what ends up happening. The deer will come through here. The baby deer will eat something different. The does will eat something different. The bucks will eat something different. Each buck will eat something different. They go through here and they each have their own palate. But what ends up happening after a couple of years, you know, this is a long-term investment. What ends up happening after a couple of years, we literally came out here with seed. We took a pole, stuck it in the ground, we put seeds in the ground. Now remember, this was ugly, hard, red clay Georgia soil. I want you to look at this. These are zucchini. There's like 80 zucchini plants out here. And every single zucchini plant out here has 3 or 4 of these monster zucchinis on them. I'll just pull without grabbing a snake. Ow! Ah, that's not even a big one. That's not even a big one. That's a small one. There's a larger one over here. I feed a lot of this to the chickens, and my neighbors up the road have goats. I'll give them to them. If the neighbors want them, they can come out and pick them. Wesley, my neighbor over here, came out and picked some zucchini and tomatoes. This is a row of just tomato seeds. I threw out a bunch of seeds. We put up a fence. We're letting them grow wild. Look at them. Butternut squash. 2 rows of butternut squash out here. And then the rest of it is that corn green mix. This just comes from just biodiversity. That's it. We don't put fertilizers. We no longer put any lime. We don't do anything. Now, the one thing we do is if you have someone that has a tractor and you have clay soil, buy for $300, or maybe so you could find someone that has one, a Subsoiler hook. Now that hook, I'll show you here in a minute, is just a hook with a little foot. Under here, you're gonna have a layer of hard pan, it's called. Hard pan is where that clay has settled and it becomes concrete. You can't get a screwdriver through it. Sometimes it's at 6 inches, sometimes it's at 18 inches. That subsoiler goes down, runs underground, breaks that hard pan, and does a slight lift. You're not tilling, you're not killing your soil biology. And we do that every 36 inches. We do that once a year. And water falls in there, nutrients, oxygen. We've done that, and man, don't till your ground. Run a subsoiler, but don't till it. And if you have sloping property, so our fields up here as an example, let's say they slope this way, I'm not going to subsoil the same way. I'm going to subsoil across the slope. So that water has to fall into those cracks, fall into those cracks. Does that make sense? So my message is, for the benefit of your deer herd, biodiversity, plant multiple species. Number 2, don't put all your seed out at once. Follow your weather patterns. Seed is germinating in like 2 or 3 days right now. It's hot, it's humid, it germinates really fast. So light coats, whenever you get a chance, run out to your food plot, throw out some seed, put out around, like the other day, I'll show you here in a second, we have an open space back in the deep woods over there. I call it the bald spot. We had cereal rye planted there for the winter. When I went back there, the cereal rye was this tall. I cut it all down, and now I seeded with clover and purple top turnip back there, and I'll just leave it. I got rain moving in, perfect timing. Everything's germinating. Here's another benefit. Let me also show you another benefit I talked about a minute ago. When you have this thick cover, you don't have to worry about seed to ground contact because it's gonna hold the moisture in it. So what I did was, to make the corn really thick and heavy, these corn rows, I actually walked and I just threw down some extra corn seed on top. I did the same thing with cowpeas last year. And let me see if I can find some in here. See if I can find some. There's gotta be some, but see how thick this is right here? There's gotta be some corn seed in here somewhere. I hear thunder in the background. Come on, corn seed, where are you? There we go. Look. It's already, I gotta pull it out of the ground. I threw this out by hand, and I want you to look at this. There's the root, and that's what's sprouting up. Got it? That was just tossed. I just walked by and just tossed that 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. That's what we've got. Isn't that crazy? And there's thousands of these that I just threw out on these rows. So these corn rows are going to be super, super thick. Now, the only thing with corn requires a lot of nitrogen because it's actually a grass. A lot of people don't know that. Corn is actually a grass. So we might actually come out, I may have John come out here and just take some pure nitrogen and just walk along and just on these rows, just throw some pure nitrogen. Clover hates nitrogen, by the way. So if you put it on, there's a chance you're going to hurt your clover. Now, why do I plant clover? White clover is perennial, a little bit slower. Crimson clover is faster growing, but clover is nitrogen fixing. Not only does it have great root structure for soil, for water infiltration, but it has little white nodules on its roots. And a lot of people think that clover being nitrogen fixing, that it puts nitrogen into the soil, and that's not what it does. Those little white nodules have a bacteria inside of them, and that bacteria converts nitrogen in the soil to a usable form to plants. Got it? So it's not that it's shooting nitrogen into the soil, it's converting the nitrogen in the soil that's not usable into a usable form. That's why even on our gardens over here, all of my rows in between my garden where a lot of people would put wood chips, which basically is not doing a whole lot, I put clover. Right now my clover is weak because we've been walking on it a whole bunch. But let me show you what I'm talking about in our gardens. In between all of our plants, we plant clover so we don't have any bare dirt. I never want to see dirt on my property. Look at the cucumbers. We've already pulled over 100 cucumbers. This is a cucumber trellis. No, zero fertilizers again. This is getting a little out of control. But you can walk by here and just pull all the cucumbers you want. They're hanging down. This is full of bees. Look at all, that's just hybrid yellow zucchini. I'll feed that to the chickens. We plant, if you get a chance on your field, plant some wildflowers, beneficial insects. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Bees and butterflies will come in here. Around the edge of my field, I have a bunch of wildflowers planted. Tomatoes, you wanna see something crazy? Look at this. Zero fertilizers, just understanding soil health. Look at this. Is that nuts? Every single plant is absolutely loaded. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that thing. These things are good. Look at those. Oh. And these things are gorgeous. Look at them. Oh my goodness. Isn't that crazy? Zero fertilizers, understanding soil health. That's all we're doing out here. Beautiful green peppers. Look at the storm coming. Beautiful green peppers. Indeterminate tomatoes. Those are indeterminate, so they're small. I have to sunshade them. They're loaded up. But yeah, so anyways, understand soil health. So those are the main rules. Just keep planting. If you're going to invest in one piece of equipment, or maybe it's a bush hog, maybe you have someone that you know, someone that has a bush hog, every 3 or 4 weeks, just go out and cut it. Go out and cut it, and then after you cut it, if you got rain moving in, throw some more seed. That's all we've done out here, and our soil is absolutely amazing. You no longer have to lime, you won't have any fertilizer, and you'll offer your deer a diversity of crops out here. I got another video coming I'm getting ready to do. I'm out of breath walking around beating the storm. I bought new feeder, what do you call them, feeder motors. And I'm gonna do a video on it because they are the best things since sliced white bread. They actually connect via Bluetooth versus having to go and you just program everything. If you want to feed, you push feed now. And then if you have the same game camera, it can also connect via your cell phone. If you're on vacation, it's great. So that video is coming out. Give it a thumbs up. Hope it helped. Doc.